Welcome back to the Barrel Talk Podcast. I'm back with another episode reacting to another article, but this one is going to be on ESPN Pro Comps for 12 projected lottery picks. I think this is super interesting because I feel like in my kind of mock draft process, the hardest thing to do is come up with like accurate player comps. It's never going to be one-to-one super like comparable, but the idea is there, and I always like reacting to like we're just looking at some of the other like player comps around, just like other mock drafts from different people and everything else like this. This is ESPN. Link will be down in the description below if you guys want to take a look at it. But I do think it's interesting because everybody views a player through a different light. And I'm interested to see some of these mocks. I assume they're going to start out with AJ DeBancer right here. High end is Jaylen Brown. Low end is a supercharged to RJ Barrett. So I've seen a lot of the Jaylen Brown comparisons. He's just a little bit bigger than Jaylen Brown, but I can see the archetype being there with the way he plays, getting downhill, super aggressive. But I'm interested to see, he's a tough one because he kind of does a little bit of everything really well in this league, but he's not like this super high-end scorer, but he can be. But he's more of a kind of a do-it-all wing. So I really like Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown does everything really well. Can defend, put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, shoot the three ball, shoot the mid-range, get to his spots, post up, have a post game. Like, he is somebody who I really like this comp for because they're really comparable. AJ DeBancer is just a bigger version of Jaylen Brown, taller, probably a little bit better of an athlete. I feel like they're kind of comparable athletically. But I think when it comes to AJ DeBancer, I think he's the number one player in this class for sure, just because he gives you all facets of the game. Great defender, has the size and athleticism to be a good point of attack defender, be good in help side, has a post game, has a mid-range game, can shoot the three ball. Hopefully that gets more develops at the NBA level. But he's somebody that can do it all truly. And I think Jaylen Brown's a good comp. RJ Barrett, kind of in that same kind of tier, but just a lower caliber player, obviously. But I think RJ Barrett's another good comparison too in that kind of range of Jaylen Brown, RJ Barrett. I think they did hit it on the head here with two pretty much good all-around guys. Like, you look at RJ Barrett, somebody who can also do a lot of things on the court well, put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, shoot the three ball, get to the mid-range, post up, solid defender. Like, I think AJ has the potential to be a better defender than both of these guys, maybe on the same level of Jaylen Brown, because I feel like when Jaylen Brown wants to, he can really, truly sit down. But I think this is two really, really good comparisons. Like, looking at his measurables, tricky because the physical profile charts at 6'8.5", barefoot, 7.5 foot wingspan. He can play on the perimeter, power forward caliber tools. He's exceptionally coordinated as a driver at his size, and his college production was miles ahead of Brown at the same stage. If DeBancer does not take a major leap as a shooter on defense, he will still clear players such as Barrett, who have become into his own gradually and is now in his 7th NBA season. So, like, look at this. They've also brought up somebody like Kawhi Leonard, but Leonard's outlier shooting development in the NBA makes this a tricky comparison. So Kawhi Leonard, I think, is just, it's hard to compare anybody to Kawhi Leonard because when you're truly looking at the defensive side of the game, he is in that all-time great category. And I think it's kind of hard to just compare a college guy going into the league, even with the number one overall pick, to put him in the same row as Kawhi Leonard in terms of just those traits. But I do think he can kind of be a good mix of like Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, floor of RJ Barrett. I think you're looking at it all time. Great number one overall pick in AJ DeBancer, which I kind of expect him to be. Going into the next one, Darren Peterson. He's a tough one, man, because he has come out and said that he wants to play point guard. I think he's more of a two guard for real. High-end Damian Lillard with better tools. Jamal Murray with better defense. I think he's more of a two off ball. I'm glad they brought up Devin Booker because I think Devin Booker is a better comparison. Somebody that is a true two, can play the one at times, which we've seen Devin Booker do in the past. Multiple scouts have compared him to Devin Booker. Has a shooting guard who also spends time running point and also has similar positional size and three-level scoring. That's where I look at Darren Peterson as a three-level scorer. And I think a good comparison is somebody like Devin Booker, somebody that really shoot the three ball, get to the mid-range, really fluid on the court. You never see Darren Peterson kind of looking clunky on the court, if you know what I'm saying. But he's always smooth motions. I feel like he's so polished as an offensive player at all three levels of the game. He really reminds me of Devin Booker. I really like that comp. And the comparisons for Peterson come down to the question poised above. How much will he be on the ball? Will he be a point guard, such as Lillard or Murray, or more of a shooting guard? I think he's going to be more of a shooting guard. In a pinch, I think he can run the one, but I think his true value is going to be at the shooting guard position. I think Devin Booker and I think Devin Booker is such a good comparison. I think Devin Booker and somebody like CJ McCollum are better comparisons. Like if you wanted to go with the high end and the low end, I think he falls more in the Devin Booker, CJ McCollum range. 3-level scorer, super smooth offensive polished game, can really get it done anywhere on the court, can get to his spots anywhere on the court. I think he has a more athleticism than somebody like a Devin Booker, getting to the basket, playing above the rim. But I do think he fits more in that Devin Booker, CJ McCollum high and low end than Damian Lillard or Jamal Murray, in my opinion, because I think he's going to be a true shooting guard at the next level. But I don't mind those comparisons either. Cam Boozer, love the Kevin Love one. I've kind of fallen in love with the Kevin Love comp. He's somebody who I think if he can develop more consistent of a three ball, Kevin Love is a perfect guy to comp him to because he can kind of fits that world and that size and that frame going into the league. I think Kevin Love eventually became such a knockdown shooter with his quick release and quick trigger at the 4 spot or the 5 spots, where it was like that's kind of tough comparison to put Cam Boozer at right away. But I do think he is in this world of Kevin Love, Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis, I don't hate it, but I think he's more leaning towards like Kevin Love, Chris Bosh world of like being a player that can play the 4, play the 5, space the floor, really good passer, good rebounder, somebody that can play good defense on the floor, maybe not be this above the rim protector, but has a really good floor game, somebody that you can operate out of the post with, who's a good passer out of the post as well. I think Kevin Love and Chris Bosh would be more of my comparisons here in this one. Scouts have favorably compared Boozer to Love, and with the game trending closer to Love's size and the strength inside, he came into the league with their reason for optimism. I mean, Al Horford's a good one too. Al Horford, he's like in that. I didn't even think about Horford. Man, I didn't even think about Horford. So he's like in the Kevin Love, Chris Bosh, Al Horford range. God, that's a really good NBA player, man. For comps, if you're getting compared to those 3 guys, those are champions in this league. Like, those are really good comps. And God, I'm talking myself into liking Cam Boozer more and more as a prospect. Like, I don't think he goes in the top 2, but I do think him at 3 over Caleb Wilson is starting to be more clear in my eyes, because I usually thought those were a toss-up. But I think Boozer, and just looking at some of the comps and kind of like looking at him as a player overall, I can see the value in having somebody like him at your 4 or 5 spot being interchangeable at those positions can bring you some really good versatility in a front court. But I think those are good comps. Caleb Wilson, Pascal Siakam, more bounce, more athleticism, and a peak John Collins. I think he's already defensively worlds above John Collins, so I don't really like the low end comp. I think the high end comp of Pascal Siakam is very accurate. Just more athletic. Pascal Siakam, somebody who could do it a little bit of everything. Siakam, way more polished offensive game, obviously, but it took him time to get there, and I think Caleb Wilson can eventually get there. But Pascal Siakam, I think, is a really good true comp to Caleb Wilson, because his offensive game is more raw than everybody that's in this kind of top 4 group. But defensively, I think he has the tools to be the best defender out of the top 4 as well. So I'm looking at Caleb Wilson has really like the Pascal Siakam comp. If I had to try to think of a low-end comp, I don't know. He's like I just think Pascal Siakam is the good one-for-one comp. Do they have anybody else that scouts compare him to Kevin Garnett? I think that's big shoes to fill. But I think defensively, I like that comp because Kevin Garnett is somebody who's a really good versatile defender as well. But I think Pascal Siakam, if he can get at least 60 to 70% of Pascal Siakam's offensive game and that kind of polish and post work and footwork kind of game, which he can develop if he does go to Chicago, and I really like their future there. But I think Caleb Wilson is a lock at number 4 to Chicago, and I like the comp of Pascal Siakam. Keaton Wagner, interesting one. Slower pace Tyrese Haliburton, low end Andrew Nembhard with less defense. I've been seeing a lot of people like mock and talk about Keaton Wagner, and they're kind of worried about the athleticism of a Keaton Wagner. Wagner's also compared to Josh Giddey, which I think that is another really good comp because of the kind of the athleticism comparison as well, and kind of their play styles and that slower, methodical pace. But I think Keaton Wagner is obviously a way better shooter than Josh Giddey. So I think he kind of fits in somewhere with like a offensive hub point guard with Josh Giddey, Tyrese Haliburton, Andrew Nembhard. I think he does fit in that realm for sure. Josh Giddey is a really good, more comparable comp than Tyrese Haliburton, just because Tyrese Haliburton is such like a we're getting out, we're running, we're pushing the pace, and he's just a better shot creator, has more burst with the ball in his hands than a Keaton Wagner. So I think Josh Giddey is a really really more accurate comp for Keaton Wagner going forward. Wagner's game is tough to fit. Halliburton was mentioned multiple times as a potential higher end outcome because of his unselfishness and positional size, ability to play on and off the ball, and to excel without elite athleticism. So I think Tyrese Halliburton and Josh Giddey are pretty good comps in terms of just like player, because he's not the most athletic guy in the world, but his size at the position allows him to play off ball, on ball, like they were saying. So looking at this, I think Josh Giddey, Tyrese Halliburton are very good comps. And if he goes somewhere like the Clippers, I really like that fit because it allows him to play off the ball, off of a Darius Garland. So I really like his fit with the Clippers. And if the Clippers are going to draft anybody at 5, I do like it being Keaton Wagner. It might be a little bit high, a little bit rich at 5 to have him over a Darius Acuff, but I think it would be a really good fit with the Clippers over there because it would allow him to be able to not have the ball in his hands right away, because you're having somebody like Darius Garland who's been in this league for a couple of years, and having him and Darius Garland as your starting backcourt going forward. Athleticism wise, you're a little bit worried defensively, but I think Keaton Wagner and Darius Garland could make it work and could make the Clippers a really fun team to watch going forward, depending on what they do with Kawhi Leonard going forward. Darius Acuff, this is another interesting one. High-end Jalen Brunson, low-end Mike Bibby. I don't like the Jalen Brunson comp because he's just a better athlete than Jalen Brunson, more athletic, can play more above the rim, like somebody that really has this burst and this crazy athleticism. If you looked at any of his measurables and everything else at the combine, like he is a supreme athlete with the ball in his hands, and he has this burst of getting downhill and getting by guys. Like he's more of like he's somebody I could see being more of like maybe a Jamal Murray in a way, with Jamal Murray like having sneaky athleticism. I think people underestimate how athletic Jamal Murray is when it comes to getting above the rim and finishing on people. But I think looking at Darius Acuff, I think a Jamal Murray comparison is more accurate than a Jalen Brunson comparison. For me, Town evaluators see Acuff has a dynamic on-ball scorer and shot creator. There are questions about whether he'll be good enough defensively and whether he can drive winning. I feel like that's always something I see surrounded by Darius Acuff's name at the next level is the defensive side of the ball. But I do think I like Jamal Murray's comps a little bit more, because I think he's a bigger guard. He doesn't look small out there either. So I don't really like the Jalen Brunson comp. Like watching Arkansas play this season, he is a bigger guard. Like his measurables don't match how he looks just watching the games on TV as well. So I think I would go with a more Jamal Murray-esque kind of comp for Darius Acuff. Kingston Flemings, De'Aaron Fox, Brandon Knight. I think De'Aaron Fox is a really good comp with his athleticism and ability to get downhill. A little bit on the smaller side, if we're just talking about this group of guards right here. Scouts take many evaluators like Fleming's intangibles and defensive chops, and they have been compared to him to Fox, Derek White, Drew Holiday has guards who can run the offense and make shots and play defense. Really good all-around guard. I think the main knock on Kingston Flemings is going to be he is a little bit on the smaller side, but I do think like he will find ways to impact winning, but he's thin and small. So I think Kingston Flemings is somebody who is a really good De'Aaron Fox comp, somebody who can really get downhill and make plays, but he can shoot the ball, I think, better than Fox right away coming into the league. I really like the form. His ability to catch and shoot makes him a really good off-ball option for a lot of teams. And I like the Drew Holiday pick, a little bit undersized to be like a true Drew Holiday comp. But I do think the intangibles are there. The defense is there. The knockdown shot is there. The versatility is there. Can play the 1 or the 2, even with being a little bit undersized. But I think he's going to be fine. I don't dive in so deeply to, he's small or he doesn't have the 6'6", 6'7" frame at the guard spot. No, I don't believe in none of that BS. To be honest with you, Kings Fleming's going to be a hell of an NBA player. Him, Keaton Wagner's main take, his athleticism. Like when I'm looking around the league, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this crazy burst athlete? No, but he's a 2-time MVP, and he knows how to get to his spots. So it's all about playing with pace, getting to your spots, and knowing where your spots on the court are. And I think Kingston Flemings, Darius Acuff, Keaton Wagner, we'll get to Mikael Brown possibly on this list. I think those guys are all like played style differently, but they all have their knocks. And I think those knocks are kind of, he's small or he's not athletic enough. We've seen guys be able to produce at a high level in this league without having crazy out of this world athleticism. If anything, not having crazy out of this world athleticism makes you have to be more skilled as a player. And I think that's why I'm a lot higher on Keaton Wagner and I'm high on Kingston Flames. I'm high on all these guards, and I don't believe in the knocks of them being, oh, they're too small or not athletic enough. All these guards are going to be really good NBA players. And I really like the Kingston Flemings comp to these guys right here because I think he does have that sneaky off the ball ability. Somebody that they didn't mention, he's like a little bit of like Cason Wallace with more skill. And I say more skill to be like more of like he can play with the ball in his hands. I know Cason Wallace is in a different situation of like he's an OKC, J-Dub, SGA. He hasn't really had to play with the ball in his hands a ton. But I think Kingston Flemings is kind of like a Cason Wallace-esque kind of guy. And I see that comparison. Who knows? Cason Wallace can get to another team possibly next season and like really show you he's a true point guard in this league and true do-it-all point guard. Because I think if you told me Kingston Flemings is in a Drew Holiday, De'Aaron Fox, Cason Wallace kind of realm, that's a really good fit and a really good comparison for me about Kingston Flemings. Next one, Ade Mara. Brooke Lopez with more passing, a less athletic Andrew Bogut. See what they have. Scouts take Mara is a difficult player to compare simply because of his size. The swing skill through his jump shot, if he can continue to improve, Mara develop into some similar Brooke Lopez, Kristaps Porzingis. The shooting ability is something that's going to have to come at the next level. But even if the shot never progresses, his ability to wall off the paint can help him become an impact player. That's why he drew comparisons to other massive players with up and down outside shooting, such as Donovan Clingan and Luke Cornett. I think if he can get into that Donovan Clingan world with his size, he can be kind of a better passer than somebody like Donovan Clingan because he is really skilled at making kind of like the read at the mid post and at the free throw line off the pick and roll. So he's somebody that I think is going to be a really good passer in this league, and I really like Donovan Clingan in comparison. Kristaps might be a little bit rich and Brooke Lopez with their shooting abilities, and I don't know if he's going to be a knockdown shooter like that at the NBA level. But I think Donovan Clingan, Luke Cornett, two really, really good comparisons. Somebody with really good size at the position. Somebody that's going to be able to block shots, run the floor. I'm really high on Ade Mara. I think if he gets to the right situation, he's going to be a really, really good NBA player. I do think a team values with where the league is going, somebody at 7'3" that can make the read and make the right correct passes in place. If he can be somewhat of like a Mitch Robb, but taller, and Donovan Clingan, Luke Cornett, like if he can get into that realm, shoot, that's a home run pick for like an Atlanta Hawks team, OKC Thunder team, if they wanted to trade up and grab him. Like he is somebody that every team is going to want to have at his size. And if anything showed you at Michigan, he is a really good passer as well. So he can be a kind of a connector to the offense as well. Mikal Brown, LaMelo Ball, D'Angelo Russell. Had the back injury. That was noted. Russell's name has come up as a floor for Brown, who's another bigger, skinnier guard who had a lot of flair with the ball in his hands. Mikal Brown, I can see the LaMelo Ball comp, D'Angelo Russell comp. I don't even think D'Angelo Russell's like a bad comp to have either, because if he can have a little bit more scoring, like I think he does, I think he's a better shooter than D'Angelo Russell. I think he has more burst in his game to get downhill than D'Angelo Russell. But I think he's more a smaller LaMelo Ball. It's tough because him and Keaton Wagner are kind of in the same category because they're bigger point guards, but they're not like, I guess they're kind of a little bit different, and Keaton Wagner not being the athlete that Mikal Brown is, in my opinion. But they're two bigger guards with slighter frames. He's another one if Mikal Brown went to the Clippers. I really like Mikal Brown or Keaton Wagner to the Clippers or Dallas, because if you're Dallas, you have Kyrie Irving there. If you're the Clippers, you have Darius Garland there. And I think both guys have a ton of value playing off the ball. Whatever situation they get to, Keaton Wagner Mikal Brown, was tough because he had the back injury. Didn't get to see him in March Madness this year with Louisville. But I think he's probably the most explosive scoring guard, like outside of Darius Acuff, with his ability to shoot, get downhill, really play at all three levels of the game, and be a really good passer at the position as well. I like the LaMelo Ball and D'Angelo Russell's comps. I kind of have to agree with that, but I think he's a little bit more of an explosive scorer than somebody like D'Angelo Russell. So he's more closer to LaMelo Ball than D'Lo, in my opinion. Next one, Nate Ahmed to the Milwaukee Bucks. High end, bigger Harrison Barnes. Low end, bigger Zaire Williams. He's just a tough one. On the high end, Jalen Johnson was mentioned. He has developed into an All-NBA player for the Atlanta Hawks after one season at Duke, being a top prospect who fell a little bit in the draft. In the middle range, Jabari Smith was brought up. He's another tall, thin combo forward who has developed into a solid starter for the Houston Rockets. He's somebody that kind of fits more into the Jabari Smith world for me, personally. Being somebody with size, at the 4 spot who can really shoot it, defend multiple positions. I think that's where Nate Ament's going to get his knack here in the league, especially right away. He's a really big developmental guy, but I think with his size, bigger Harrison Barnes, I think he's more of in that Jabari Smith world. I never see Nate Ament really putting the ball on the floor and creating for himself a whole ton in the NBA, but at his size, at 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", like with that size at the 4 spot, at the 3 spot, he reminds me a lot of like a Jabari Smith, Santi Aldama kind of type, somebody with really good positional size, somebody that can really shoot it, be a spacer out there, and be a good rebounder. I think he has the size to be a really good defender in this league, but I think Nate Ament would fit more into the Jabari Smith, Santi Aldama kind of realm of player if I had to give my comparisons on it. But I think Nate Ament has a high ceiling. His stuff is going to be more off where he does fall in the draft and what team takes the shot on a developmental guy in Nate Ament. I think everything shows you the talent can be there, but he has to be in the right situation and right fit going forward. Braden Burries, less athletic Derek White, Quentin Grimes. I think this would be a really good fit for the Golden State Warriors, and he's somebody that can kind of, with Moses Moody being out pretty much all of next year, or at least half of next year, he'd be a really good fit because he's another do-it-all guy. Less athletic Derek White, he's somebody that can be a really good two-way combo guard, jack of all trades like they're saying right here, somebody that can put the ball on the floor, play the 1, play the 2, play off ball, be able to fit anywhere in that Golden State Warriors offense. Why I think I really like that mock just of where he could possibly go. Drew comparisons to another combo guard who excelled analytical miles before the draft. And since Golden State Warriors guard Brandon Podziemski, it's ironic the comparison because they could be teammates in Golden State. I don't think that's a bad comparison because I think Braden Burries is more polished and is more explosive of a player than somebody like Brandon Podziemski. But another jack of all trades guy like Brandon Podziemski, I think that's a really good comp. Same with like guys like Derek White, Quentin Grimes, guys that can really fill the stat sheet from all aspects of the game and do a lot of different things on the basketball court. I really like Braden Burries to go in this like Milwaukee Bucks, Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat kind of realm in this part of the draft. So I really like the idea of Braden Burries possibly going to somewhere like Golden State. And I think the comps are accurate with Derek White, Brandon Podziemski. I don't hate those. Maybe he's a little bit less scrappy, one executive said, but he's got more bounce than Pods. He's more athletic than Pods, getting downhill, making plays and everything like that. Some questions whether Burries' production can scale up offensively. If that happens, he can be compared to White or potentially Jamal Murray. That could be super interesting. His upside as a player offensively with the ball in his hands. I think it's more tailored towards somebody like Jamal Murray with his size, is very comparable as well with his offensive game, can shoot it, can do a lot of different things well. It can be a 3-level scorer at the next level. But I think his defense is something that's going to get him on the floor right away, which I really like the Derek White comp. I think if he can be trending towards more of a Derek White comp, really good position for Braden Burries going forward. But he's another guy where I think fit matters a ton. I think this is the last one. Yaxel Lindenberg to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jalen Johnson, Aaron Gordon. Really like those comps as well. An older player that's coming into the league ready to play right away. And I think his comps of Jalen Johnson, Aaron Gordon are very much certain. I think he's a good mix of both. He might not have the athleticism and pop of Aaron Gordon, but I think defensively has such a sound floor game. Going to be ready to go right away, defend multiple positions, can really knock down the shot at the 3-point level. So I like the Jalen Johnson, Aaron Gordon comps. He's somebody that I think from every like fan base that I've kind of seen, every team in like post like 7 to like later in the lottery is like, man, we want Yaxel. I can see OKC fitting, Miami fitting, Golden State fitting. If the Bucks want to keep Giannis, he fits there as well. Like he fits on any team really in those teams, in my opinion. And with his age being a little bit older of a player, but he's more prone. I really like his fit with like Golden State, OKC, maybe even Charlotte, honestly. Like if Charlotte can land somebody like Yaxel Lindenberg or Morez Johnson to kind of be that Miles Bridges replacement, I think Yaxel Lindenberg fits perfectly in either Golden State, OKC, or Charlotte, in my opinion. He's another one where I think he fits with the Clippers. Like, say you keep Kawhi Leonard, you're not drafting him at 5, but say a world where the Clippers trade down. Yaxel Lindenberg would be a really good fit next to Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, going forward. But if I had to guess, he falls somewhere in the teens to Golden State, OKC, or Charlotte, in my opinion. And I think he'd be a great grab for any of those teams just because his size at the position. He will turn 24 in September. I'm not too worried about the age with him going to any of these teams because they're ready to win now. And I think Yaxel Lindenberg, he's also not like a true 24 because he started playing basketball late. So, like, I think he is somebody that can play the 3, 4, or the 5 in a pinch. I think he's so interesting because he fits on those teams so interesting because you put somebody like Yaxel on a team with LaMelo, Khan, and Brandon Miller, and the way they play, Yaxel, I can feel, get a lot of opportunities inside the paint, rebounding, put back to all that. And then he gets to OKC to where he's playing a lot off the ball, and then they get a bigger wing, which I feel like OKC's been needing. And then Golden State, him, Draymond, Jimmy, defensively will be really fun to see. So I'm interested to see where they go and where he falls, because I think he's somebody that could really impact winning right away. And I really like the Aaron Gordon, Jalen Johnson comps because I think he fits those really well. But that's all I have for this episode today, reacting to ESPN's kind of player comps for these lottery projected picks. But I'll leave the link in the description if you guys want to check it out for yourself. Like, comment, subscribe, your takes on these players. If some of my comps were off some of your comps, I feel like this is the best part of the draft, is kind of comparing these players to players that are already in the league. It's June. Draft is right around the corner. We got the final starting tonight by the time I'm recording this. But thank you guys for tuning into the Barrel Talk podcast. Hope you tune in to future episodes.